welcome to Judy's Kitchen Creation. Today we're going to be cooking Cornish hen sitting on a bed of wild rice with portabella mushrooms. We're going to accompany it with fall harvest vegetable medleys and some asparagus. So come on over and let's get cooking. First of all, we're going to start off with our Cornish hen. We've already got it cleaned, we've got it rinsed out, we've got everything taken out of it. To this we're going to be adding some salt. As you can see, I'm not really measuring and I'm just using the fingertips, and if you need measurements, I'd suggest just a half a teaspoon of each of these. We had salt, we had garlic, we've got paprika, which is a half a teaspoon of each, a little bit of black pepper. You're going to turn it over. We're going to add a little bit more salt, half a teaspoon of garlic, another half a teaspoon of paprika, and then we've got some black pepper. We season this nicely. Then we're going to take some poultry string. We're going to wrap this up so that we get an even cook on all sides. We put it over, we crisscross it, bring it over, bring it under. That way we have all the pieces staying together. And there you have it. So after we're done wrapping up our poultry, we're going to take this and we're going to bake this in the oven at 350 degrees for 15 to 25 minutes, depending on how small your bird is. So Cornish hen's pretty small, so you don't need to put it in for very long. And after we've got it wrapped like this, we take it, we put it in the oven, and we allow this to bake. While this is baking, we're going to go ahead and make the side dishes. Make sure when you touch poultry, you got to wash your hands thoroughly because of the bacteria that's left. Just a friendly tip. Now we're going to go ahead with the magic of camera. We've already got one of these birds in the oven. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start with the sides. So I'm going to take you through, first of all, through our portabella mushroom side and wild rice. We've already got portabella mushrooms all chopped up. We've had wild rice that was already cooked for 20 minutes on the stove. We got a little bit of garlic. So in this pan right now, we have some olive oil and a little bit of butter, and that's been melting in there. So to this olive oil, we're going to be adding our garlic, chopped up garlic. And as that garlic is going and getting nicely married in that oil, in that olive oil and butter, we're going to take our portabella mushrooms and we're going to add some of that to this mixture, and we're going to allow that to cook for a second. And this is going to be the base for which our Cornish hen is going to be sitting on. So you can get the diced up small pieces of portabella mushrooms, but I love my portabella, so I chop them up nice and thick because I want to taste the portabella. So while this is busy cooking and having a party, having a ball down here, we're going to go up to the next burner and we're going to do our asparagus. And we're going to let that simmer on the top. So with our asparagus, as you can see, I've also got some olive oil and some butter. Not a whole lot, just a little bit of olive oil and butter. This temperature is going to be turned down off of this for just a second. So with this olive oil and butter, we're going to be adding our asparagus. And we're going to let that cook for a few seconds. Now as you can see, I have got these asparagus chopped up a little. Most of the cases you see the asparagus is just sitting there whole, but I've got them chopped up a little because I like to have bite-sized pieces. And yes, they're a little bit bigger than bite-sized pieces, but this is the size that I prefer to have them. And as you can see, this is purple asparagus, which is tender compared to the green one and very delicious. So for those of you that have not tasted asparagus, I'd suggest you go out and try some. It's delicious. Okay, as you can see, our portabella mushrooms getting married and having a wonderful time. I think we'll add just a little bit more olive oil to this. There you go. So we've got that going, and as you can see, it's almost done. Now we've got asparagus. So we've already got another burner going, and we've got, for our harvest medley, we have already steamed sweet potatoes and steamed squash. We're going to take these and make our harvest medley on the next burner. So with these, we do not need to cook them for very long because they're tender, they're juicy. We want still a little crispness to it. Okay, so our portabella is all merry. We're going to take our wild rice. We're going to add that to that, turn the burner down. We're going to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. And we're going to season some of that asparagus. Now to the squash, butternut squash, and also to the sweet potatoes. We have steamed them ahead of time, so we have limited amount of time for having it on the stove. When you have vegetables that's fresh and juicy and delicious, you do not want to overcook it and have all its taste just worn out from cooking. So we want to give it not very much time in the cooking process. You want to have some tenderness to it, but at the same time you want it cooked and delicious. So we've got the asparagus just having a ball back there. And over at this pot we've got our oil, olive oil, and we've got a little bit of butter going. So to that, we are going to add some cumin, 2 bay leaves. We also have a little bit of cinnamon stick ground. There are 2 different kinds of cinnamon stick, and we want to use the cinnamon stick for cooking, not the one that we use for desserts, and not the one that we use for sweetening teas and stuff. So here we have garlic, chopped up garlic. We're going to add that to the pot. So we're going to let that sit in some of that and just come together. Just like so. And turn the burner down for the asparagus. So while this is cooking, it's time for us to add our vegetables. Oh, before we add the vegetables, we don't want to forget our ingredient. We have baby onions, white onions and red onions. We want to add that to that mix. Now, white and red onions do not need a lot of time to cook. You don't want it mushy. You don't want it falling apart. You want it to hold its texture. We've got to add our sweet potatoes, our butternut squash, we're going to add some butter to that. One of the main ingredients is butter. Everybody loves butter. So we're going to add a little bit of butter to this mixture. Stir it. Oh, and one ingredient that we forgot to mention in the process of this is mustard seed. We added a little bit of mustard seed to it. So that's looking merry, coming along. Need a little bit of leaven with some olive oil. So we're getting that going. So asparagus is done. And we've got our wild rice done. since this is already steamed, we do not really need to do a lot of cooking. It holds its texture, it's tender, and it's delicious. So we're going to transfer this. We already have one of our Cornish hens that's been prepared and done. Now to finish it off, we have some cilantro, and we're just going to dice the cilantro down. We got some thyme. We're going to chop up a little bit of thyme. And we're going to add some of this to the pot. These are the toppers to our meal. We've got that chopped up. We're going to get a plate. We have a plate, and we're going to plate this up. With the magic of time and with the magic of the camera, we already have a Cornish hen that's done. We're going to take this and transfer it to our plates. As you can see, we're all ready to go, all cooked, like so. Just going to transfer it onto this platter. And we're going to plate you a meal. So here we have the bed of rice. We're going to put that to the side. And as you can see, this is juicy. This has got a lot of loving with a lot of butter and olive oil. We've got our asparagus, doing a little dance there. There's our asparagus, tender juicy asparagus. We have our medley, fruit medley. And we've got a lot of loving with this. Some onions, white onions, some red onions. Perfect for the fall. Delicious. So, we have got our Cornish hen. All we have to do is remove the string. We plate it on top of the rice, and we take a little bit of a cilantro and just top it up on there. We take a little bit of our thyme and throw it on there. And this is from Judy's Kitchen Creations. I hope you guys have a feast. I hope you enjoy your meal, and thank you for coming and cooking with me today.